Dr. Shabir, welcome to Let the Quran Speak.
Pleasure to be on.
Our misunderstood verse of today, Dr. Shabir, is chapter 2, verse 285. And this is how it goes. The believers say we make no distinction between any of his God's messengers.
Mm-hmm.
So it's about differentiation between the messengers.
Yes. So this is a very important verse because it summarizes the faith of Muslims. It says, "Amana Rasul bima unzila ilayhi min rabbihi wal mu'minun kullun amana billahi wa malaikatihi wa kutubihi wa rusulihi la nufarriqu bayna ahadin min rusulihi." So the believers are going to say, we believe in God, in His messengers, God, His angels, His books, and His messengers, and we make no distinction between any of His messengers. So one might then say, okay, but you consider the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, to be the greatest of all messengers. You've made a distinction right there. And you're following the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, directly, but others you are following, if at all, maybe only indirectly. So aren't you making a distinction there? So the answer to that is that what the verse seems to be driving at here is not the kind of distinction that we're thinking about here arising in this question, as naturally comes from the use of the English word distinction, but from the Quranic mention of differentiating between this and that. The Quran here seems to be saying that the believers won't say we believe in some prophets and some messengers, but we disbelieve in some other prophets and messengers. So it's like a verse of the Bible saying in the book of James that, if you reject one commandment, you have rejected the whole thing.
Yes.
So it's like if, in a similar way, the Quran is saying if you reject one of God's messengers, it's like you reject the whole idea of God's messengership, God sending messengers to people. So you're rejecting the message of God. So you reject any one of the messengers of God, you're rejecting the one who sent the messenger. So a Muslim cannot reject any of the messengers of God. We accept them all. But among them, God tells us in the third juz of the Quran, the opening verse, Tilka Rusul, those are the messengers, فَضَّلْنَا بَعْدَهُمْ عَلَى بَعْضٍ. God has favored some over some others. So some have been favored and given distinctions over some others. God himself has done that. And naturally, believers can, recognize some such distinctions as well. So one is distinguished over another by certain qualities, certain favors that God has bestowed on them over some others. But so that's not what this verse is hinting at. This verse is just simply prohibiting Muslims from believing in some of the messengers while rejecting some others. We believe in all of them. And then we are required to follow the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, in particular because he came with that distinction that he is a world prophet. He's the prophet for all people. And there's no other prophet going to come after him, according to an interpretation of a verse of the Quran, Surah 33, verse number 40. And so we are not, you can say, discriminating against the other prophets. And I think that might have been a better word to put in the translation. So we do not discriminate against any of them. All right? Okay, rather than we make no distinction among them.
All right, we'll leave it at that. Thank you, Dr. Shabir.
Okay, you're welcome.
Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to Muslim Media Hub, the new home of Let the Quran Speak.
Here we spread positivity and good. We help people experience the beauty of Islam and help them appreciate and understand Muslims.
This beautiful building we purchased at cost $2.3 million.
Yeah, we've already raised a third of that money, and with your help, inshallah, we can pay off the rest.
So we're looking for people who can give $1,000 each. If you can be part of the select group, that's amazing.
Otherwise, just please give whatever you can. Every dollar counts.
It's our collective responsibility to share the message of Islam with our fellow human beings. Please help us continue this good work.
It's a sadaqah jariyah, something that will continue to be a benefit to the Muslim community long after Safiya and I are gone.
Please support our work at muslimmediahub.com.
Your support is zakat eligible and tax deductible.
May Allah bless you and your loved ones today and always. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.